Saturday morning, time to kick off the Experts program on Power Talk, and that means our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, joins us. Luis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Are you guys going to hit the water this weekend?
Going to be doing boat maintenance this weekend. I got to take off the outboard and take it over to the shop in Salinas to get it serviced. It's kind of been a couple of years since I've done that and like to keep it nice and clean and working. So that's going to be my project this weekend.
So the outboard motor is just something that you use if the wind goes slack and you don't have any way for the sails to the boat.
Or to get out of the bay. Sometimes the wind inside the marina is pretty light, so it's hard to push off from there. So the motor gets me out past the mouth of the marina where the wind picks up, and we can hoist the sails.
And what's the horsepower on that little motor?
It's a 9 horsepower engine.
Okay, so you don't need all that much.
No.
Just basically for maneuvering and pushing yourself forward a little bit.
Yep, and like you said, sometimes you get out there, the wind will die or it doesn't build up enough, so you need to find a way to get back without using paddle.
Boy, you sure wouldn't want to be stuck about a mile out in the bay and have to paddle in.
Oh, yeah. We've had that experience on the boats that I crew on, especially late in the year when the wind becomes a little iffy. We were out more than once. We've been out racing and around mile marker, and all of a sudden the wind just dies.
Oh.
And you have all these boats sitting out there with flapping loud sails that aren't going anywhere or doing anything. And unless we can get a tow from somebody with a motor, we end up having to use the paddles to get back to the dock. So not fun.
I can understand that. Hey, we've got a couple of big stories to hit today. The most important one is one that is happening right now. Problem developed overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning, and it's called the CrowdStrike outage. And it's created a lot of chaos around the world with airline reservation systems, banks, and other types of technology-based disruptions. What's exactly going on here, and why is this such a big deal?
Yeah, so if you're using a Windows system and you're using CrowdStrike for your endpoint protection. So CrowdStrike is a company that makes a sort of endpoint protection system, think antivirus, that sort of stuff. And on late Thursday, they sent out or pushed out an update to their endpoint protection software. And apparently that software broke Windows. So if you're a Microsoft Windows user and you have CrowdStrike, chances are you experienced this. In particular, they have a product called the CrowdStrike Falcon that was the impacted system. And the result of that bad update was that it started causing the dreaded blue screen of death on Windows computers, where they would just lock up and have a blue screen with a little error message saying, hey, you need to reboot your system. And then when you try to reboot, it doesn't do anything. It just continues this endless loop of blue screen. So that's what happened. And all these companies that use Windows servers or Windows workstations that were CrowdStrike or are CrowdStrike clients, their systems locked up. And that included, like you said, airlines, in particular Delta, United, and American, as well as many banks, many media companies that their servers went down and they couldn't come back up. And at first, everybody thought, oh my God, this is a massive cybersecurity attack. But it turned out to be quite the opposite. It was a cybersecurity faux pas from a company that provides endpoint protection. And now they've said that they're rolling back that patch to hopefully resolve the issue. And they have instructions for how to manually remove it if you can't get your PC to boot up at all. But it's going to take a long time. We're talking about, millions of PCs and servers that were impacted by this.
So it's impossible for the CrowdStrike people to just send out a patch or to send out the previous version to load into those machines, because many of them are sitting there basically as doorstops right now.
Yep, exactly. So it doesn't matter if they can't connect to the internet, they just can't get that update. And that's the big challenge. Is the remediation process is a manual one. It's one that's going to require each one of those computers to actually be touched by a human being. Or if you have we have some automated tools that may be able to not require physical action on the computer. But fortunately for us, our clients don't use CrowdStrike. We use another product called SentinelOne, which has not been impacted. So the challenge is that CrowdStrike is a major leader in that space, and they have a huge market share. And now, unfortunately, those clients are all feeling the pinch.
Wow, that's crazy. And I guess this is an update or a patch that was built by CrowdStrike. They must have been unaware of something, or somebody missed something in the process of building it, that it would blue screen many OSs.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a huge black eye for CrowdStrike, because typically companies, before they push out any sort of patches or updates, they'll spend a long time testing and making sure that once it gets out in the wild, it's not going to cause any problems. And obviously, whoever was the quality control folks on this particular patch patch didn't do their job well enough, and they're causing all these problems. So if you're flying out today someplace, check with your airline to see if the flights are even happening. I know that flights out of Monterey seem to be on time, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get on any connecting flights if you're going through one of the other gateways.
Absolutely. Hey, let's move on to AI, because 2024 is the year of AI. It's really taking off. And there's something called Suno, not Sumo, but Suno, S-U-N-O. Make a song about anything. And what this is like, using AI tools to enhance your voice?
It's incredible. If you go to suno.com, that's SUNO.com, you can sign up for free, and you just give description to, whatever you want to create a song about. And then it will not only create the lyrics, it will actually put the music to it and an AI voice that sounds really, really good. And I've been playing with this and creating some fun songs that you can be very descriptive. You can tell it, hey, I want a song about a cowboy and his dog out on the range herding cattle at sunset, and make it a country western song using Alabama rock, country rock as the format. And it will do it. And you can say, make it a female singer or male singer, make it upbeat, make it melancholy. You can give it all sorts of parameters, and it will create a song for you. So if you have an anniversary coming up, I wish I'd discovered this before mine, you can actually create a ballad for your spouse and gift it to him or her as a fun little anniversary gift.
Oh, that's really cool. All right, so check it out, folks. Suno, S-U-N-O, Suno.com. All right, finally, we were talking about the fact that this is the year of AI, and AI can be used for all sorts of things. And one of them is mimicking, well, not even mimicking, but exact copies of other people's voices. And we talked about this a little bit before, but what is really being feared going into this election here in November is that bad actors, whether they are associated with a campaign or not, could create AI voice messages and then blanket telephone calls, like using a telephone dialing system to call people. And it could be a message from Joe Biden. They could use his voice, because there's so much of the president's voice in the public domain, and create a message. And he could actually say to you on the phone, I've decided this job is too much for me. I can't do it for another 4 years, but gosh, they don't have enough time to take me off the ballot, so I think you should all vote for Donald Trump. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on Election Day. Or, you could have Trump giving the same message, telling people to vote for Biden or vote for someone else, and it could fool enough people that they would fall for it and do what the voice says.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Suno, if you go there, is an example of an artificial voice created out of nothing, but you can just as easily get somebody's recorded voice and have AI clone that voice and make it say whatever you want to. I've seen that happen many times. And, I have a friend of mine who writes books, and he wanted to get his books on Audible, but he didn't want to pay the voice actor fees to have somebody record the book. And he didn't want to spend all that time sitting in a radio booth recording it. So he had his voice cloned, and then he had that cloned voice actually read the book to create the Audible book that is now online and available for sale. And all he had to do was train that AI for about half an hour on his voice and his inflection, and it read the entire book for him.
Well, we're going to see this happening between now and November for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, be cautious out there. If you get call or message on your voicemail that sounds a little unusual, chances are that it could be somebody trying to spoof somebody's voice and get you to do something you might not otherwise do.
Right. And these hackers, or bad actors, for lack of another term, I mean, they could take the ability to create voices with AI, and they could create the voice of, say, the CEO of your bank, the bank that you bank with, saying something completely contrary, calling up people and saying, the bank has failed, take all your money out, and we've got a safe place for you to send it. And let me give you the routing numbers to where to put your savings so that it'll be preserved. And this is approved by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And people would do that, and they'd end up sending their money to some guy behind the old Iron Curtain, somebody in Ukraine or whatever. And that will happen. That will absolutely happen.
Or if you're a company and like if you're, for example, ATG and like our company, my voice is out there, as you know, and a lot of these shows that you and I make, we post them online for people to listen to later. And many, so there's hours and hours of my voice out there. So somebody could just clone my voice and call my controller and say, hey, I need you to transfer money to this account for a deal that we're doing or something like that. That has actually happened happened to a couple of companies that I know of. So it's not just, consumers that are at risk. It's companies who can also be victimized.
All right. That's Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group. Online, it's alvareztg.com. The X handle is at AlvarezTG. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
All righty. And coming up on Monday, we've got an interesting story about how you can save energy and the environment at your home.
Yep. All you need to do is think about heat pumps instead of traditional air conditioning.
All right. That's coming up Monday beginning at 8:30 here on Power Talk Radio. Luis, thanks so much for your time today.
You're welcome, my friend. Take care.